What is going on, everybody, and welcome to Bona Fide Bullshit
Episode 4.
That is right. We're 4 episodes in, and
My vocals get better every episode.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
It sure does. Whatever helps you sleep at night. The sweet sounds of my voice.
Yeah. But huge shout outs to everybody that's been tuning in. We just clipped the 150 download mark.
Hey.
That is fucking badass. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I mean, I'm gonna every fucking episode I'll say how much we appreciate you guys. I know we've been saying it just from when we got the first couple of listeners on the teaser. Then we clipped 50 and 100. Now we're at 150 downloads. I mean, it's crazy. You know,
I feel like we have friends all over.
It is, and the feedback has been
excited.
The feedback has been phenomenal. The comments have been phenomenal. I mean, I get some IG comments with stuff, and matter of fact, today
the DMs.
Yes, today, a matter of fact, I got a comment that on one of my cigar posts on my personal page, and it said #Framily.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that is pretty fucking awesome.
That's cute.
I mean, have you got any comments like that? Any feedback? What's been going your way?
I definitely have had friends that have messaged me, DM me, text me, oh, I just listened to your stuff, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it's all been really good feedback. I know our one good friend, I call her Sasson, her name is Michelle, texted me and said, oh, I love it. It just sounds like you guys are, literally just sitting down with us and talking and everything. And Maria... Oh, yeah, and just so you know, I don't know if you guys, she was saying, oh, like, how do you guys edit it, blah, blah, blah.
Stay away from
Maria in the vid. She was asking us, like, oh, how do you guys edit it and stuff like that? And you guys, like, we literally do not edit this. We are sitting here talking, and the only editing that goes on is if Eli has to edit my voice to be lower because I'm, like, laughing too obnoxiously. Like, that is it. There's no cutting, taking out, like nothing.
No, there's no pause and play. But real quick, I'm going to keep elaborating on that. But I just wanted to give shout outs. The person who left me that comment was Jason, a.k.a. Cleveland Cigar Guy. We appreciate it, brother. Thank you for leaving me that comment. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I call it like the Jay-Z effect. Most people don't know Jay-Z, when he records his music, he's one take. He goes in there right off the mind and rip, and that's what we do. We're not sitting here cutting.
Has he for every single song he's done?
He's been known.
Legit?
He doesn't have no paper pad.
Proof?
Yeah, they got videos. He'll come in off the top of the mind, out of the dome.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. And
are you calling me Jay-Z? Oh my God, I really am.
I was calling
totally
us Jay-Z.
Oh,
but
us.
Somehow you took
I said me.
Yeah.
So
like,
me, us.
No,
is like Jay-Z.
I'm Jay-Z. You're Memphis Bleak. That's how this shit works right here. But those people get that deep cut for that Memphis Bleak reference.
I don't know who that is.
But basically, yeah. I mean, I do. I mean, we talked about this shit before. Like, I have the background to edit shit and go and do all that, and I obviously what I do is I do take our podcast and I master it.
I literally know nothing. I do this. I pod with you, and then I take a hike and I leave the room, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, basically what I do is I get in the production and the mastering so it sounds crisp and clean. I'm a big audio guy, obviously, from being a DJ, so I make sure that our shit sounds nice and clean. But we're not sitting here cutting and pasting.
Really, because my voice is very crisp and clean, and it's very. I feel like it's very soothing, almost like, what is that, ASMR?
ASMR, BDSM, what? What? That ASMR shit that for some fucking reason my oldest Martin loves. That he's like, oh, I'm watching these ASMR videos on YouTube.
Look, I could do it.
Man, that hot ass breath is coming this way. Thank God that mic's got a fucking cover. That mic probably smells like fucking gaga now. Yeah, all that crispy, all that. It's actually, when you go like, okay, I'm gonna open up.
Yeah, and it's eating sometimes. Like, they'll eat something. It's very weird. Listen, the generation is different. Their generation is different. Like, we didn't have that kind of weird shit when we were growing up. But,
it's you know what it is. I think it's this generation's letting fetishes play out in the forefront.
It's
where
really out there.
People
would
that was taboo. Like, I'm not gonna say that I got a fetish for a voice from someone eating.
Yeah, like, hey, you like furries?
Feet or
you want
to
fucking a furry outfit? Yeah, that's fucking cool. Let's
all that
do
weird
it.
shit. Now it's like, which is cool. I'm not knocking. It's acceptable. Listen, I'm always been
whatever your fucking pleasure.
Yeah, just have at it. And it's just, I guess, like I said again, I guess back in the day it was just so fucking taboo where you couldn't say the things you were into, whether it's shit like that, shit sexually, whatever. But now it's just kind of out there and it's on Front
Or even
Street.
just hobbies and shit. Like literally anything is a go right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like all bets are fucking off for people, what things they get into, the stuff that they say, and the videos they put out there on YouTube, because that gives everybody that platform to just kind of get out there and do all the weird, crazy shit they want to fucking do. People watch.
We need to get on YouTube. You know, maybe we'll like record one of our episodes one day so people could actually just see us sitting here and talking.
I mean, that's definitely the plan down the road. And I mean, everybody, I mean, we've been asked, I've got a message that says, hey, you guys are going to record that anytime soon. And I said, yeah, we'll see. As the show continues to grow, we'll continue to grow with equipment and stuff. I mean, we're not, fucking by all means making bazillions of dollars off a podcast. I mean, right now we're making 0.00, but it's something where, you, as the time goes, we'll get some of that extra equipment, we'll film, so then we can have the vlog of it, so you guys can see the video log of it, and then you can have the downloaded version of it, and hopefully I could get that Ryan's tour review money where,
Oh my God. Listen, I feel like we could do it. Like, she's weird anyways.
The mom's really weird. The dad's really suspect, but that's not the only family. I mean, there's a bunch of other families that are on there that our kids get enamored in, and they're watching them.
They're gross.
And it's like, I sometimes, low key, I find myself where I'll stop because I'm like, what the fuck is he watching? And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, then I start fucking watching it. Like, it's like that,
it reels
that
you
little,
in.
yeah, it reels you in, and you're just like, and you realize it's just.
Because it's so stupid, you're like, what the fuck are they going to do now? Oh,
yeah,
nice.
They're playing. My kid's gonna watch you play a video game.
They're gonna throw slime off the balcony or some shit like that. Like,
yeah, they're gonna pull a prank at the stage. They're like I said, my kid's gonna watch your kids play a fucking video game, and it's like, well, why don't you go fucking play the video game?
Yeah, it's weird.
And there's so many families that are out there, and they're doing that. And like I said, I never knock someone's hustle. I said I just have an opinion on it, and I look and I'm just like, some of it's stupid, but I just, unfortunately, we don't have the time and effort to be sitting here with a fucking camcorder in our hand trying to record each other every fucking day.
If only.
I mean, families in general are just insane. And well, this week, Thanksgiving, speaking of families, it's a big thing. And
family and
eating. And I know this year a lot of folks are doing it different because of the fucking pandemic that's going on and what's happening with COVID. And
Thanksgiving's one of my fave, though, for sure.
It is. I mean, especially with between our families, because I'm Puerto Rican and you're Filipino. And the dishes are just a big.
We've always had the best food. Like, I don't know that quite so much that you enjoy all of them, but everyone else does. I mean, it's just an array of Filipino food, Puerto Rican food, Mexican food, like a little bit of everything. And usually, obviously not this year, but usually it's just a big spread, and it's the fucking best. Especially, how much I love to eat, and that's why I love Thanksgiving so much. It's like a no pressure holiday. You're literally just being with each other and eating.
Yeah, and you said a no pressure holiday unless you got the family members that want to critique you. You know how they always say they come in, wait, where's the girlfriend? Or weren't you with so and so last year? Or,
you got fat.
Or
like, yeah, motherfucker, because we've been in quarantine and all I do is fucking eat. So,
but unfortunately, like I said, a lot of families are not going to be able to go ahead and get together, and it's unfortunate. And I respect people that are definitely holding true to their their quarantining and their social distancing. And for those families who are going ahead and getting together, who know they're healthy, who know they're clean, I mean, big props to you. Like I said, it's that time of the year where, it's unfortunate that everybody can't do it normal, because it is a big family holiday. It is a big get together. It's a day where you could watch back-to-back football games, and a day where you could start eating at like 9 o'clock in the fucking morning and not finish till late. It's a day where all those crazy fucking people go in line for a fucking off-market TV to just get $50 off of it.
We just like driving by to see everyone. We don't actually shop. We kind of like take a stroll by after dinner and like, oh, let's see what everyone's doing out there.
That's always the best, just to drive by, because we never, as long as we've been together, we've never hopped in a line. I mean, there's times where we might have decided, I think maybe once or twice, we decided to pop out on a Black Friday thing, but it was later in the afternoon once the madness calmed down.
Like, there's nothing here. Like, there's nothing interesting. And I guess if you are getting those big ticket items, but like, I guess not really.
Yeah, I mean, even then, I mean, I still think that, the deals that they're giving you is not really an extreme deal of what you think it might be. I mean, you can still probably find some fucking deals online. It's just people get so, like, enamored with the fact of, like, oh, my God, I think I'm getting a deal, when you're not. It's something that you could probably fucking get another day. I
do think sometimes it's like I don't know what the right word is. It's almost like a sport every year for people, you know, like it's almost like a game, you know. It's not even so much that, oh, I need to get this now on Black Friday only. It's just the fact of getting it and maybe beating another person to it, or like it's just the excitement of it. Maybe, like, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I feel like, you know, you could get some of that stuff anytime. Maybe it's not as good of a sale. Maybe it's just a 25% off or 20, but like,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's just the fun of it, maybe, but it seems stressful to me.
To me, the fun of it, especially if you live in the Midwest and if you live in the Chicagoland surrounding suburb area, it's fucking cold. I mean, the weather obviously has been kind of wonky this year so far, so we don't know what it's going to be. I think there's going to actually be like in the 40s or something. But typically, one of our rides we went, it was snowing, and people were in line at fucking Old Navy for fucking...
Right now, it's warm for like, you know, a quote-unquote Illinois winter, I think.
Yeah, it seems real odd, but I remember we were walking, we were driving by, and we seen people waiting in fucking Old Navy for the Old Navy flip-flops. You got people waiting in Best Buy. You got fights going on at Walmart to start at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm just so not desperate
for dollar flip-flops. I really am not.
Yeah, like I'm gonna freeze my ass off. And I mean, obviously because we're not in tune with that community. I'm sure this week, I wonder how they're going to be set up for social distancing. You know, if it's bad enough now, you went to go do groceries the other day, and we're back in what is this, not a full phase 3, but a partial phase 3 where it's 50% capacity at places. So basically that means like you go to a grocery store that have 50% capacity and you waited out in line till X amount of folks came out, and then you were able to go in. So it's like, I'm wondering, these folks, you're going to line up in there in the cold, which you're ready with a line. Now that line's going to double because not everybody can't get in. So and I'm also wondering, what about the people? Because now this whole pandemic is also showing who around you is like a super germaphobe. So you see folks that are like, I don't go no more. I don't shop. Amazon brings everything. Instacart brings everything to my house. Yeah. Like, so maybe they might not be as crazy. Maybe it might be your chance for your person who wants to give a first crack at it. This might be the fucking one to give a crack at and go get in those lines and go get those quote unquote deals.
Yeah, everyone's handling it really different. It's really crazy. I mean, I go to work and I go to different clients, multiple clients a day, and there's some people who are like, oh, welcome in, please come in, you know, no mask, no, you know, whatever. And then there's some clients who are like, you know, I take one step forward, and they take like 40 steps back.
Yeah.
You know, so it's different. Everyone is handling it different. Like you said before, like we respect it, but you know, there's only so much fear. I personally
there was when I read something the other day where a gentleman mentioned that he said, I'm not gonna fear it, but I'm gonna respect it. Which that's the way I feel. Like I respect it. It's definitely something that's going on. You're hearing stories, but to live in fear, you can't live like that. And you know, it just takes you back to this time where, like I said, where you're supposed to be with family. It's unfortunate that family can't get together, family can't fly in. I know families and people that I know personally are still flying to their loved ones or going there again, but they're just doing it on a scale back, you know, portion where they're not going all in like they typically would go in. And, you know, my question to you is, when it comes around the holidays, like, what does like Thanksgiving mean to you? Besides the food, like we just mentioned, and stuff like that.
I mean, it's really about family, like I said earlier, and just really being with each other, period. But it's funny, I know I kind of had this on my mind as well. Like, you know, when you get around the holidays, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, like there's a lot of stuff going on. Thanksgiving is definitely more of the no pressure holiday for sure. But, you know, when you are the mom, when you're the head of the household, like you're the one cooking, like you're the one doing everything. You know, there's a lot happening, and there's a lot of memories that kind of stroll through my head when I'm just like thinking about the holidays and driving around recently. And when we were talking with some of our friends this weekend, and we joke because, like we've said before, we grew up very different. Yeah. And you guys always say I grew up very privileged, and I did. Like when I look back on it, especially as a mom now, like I grew up extremely privileged, and the memories when I think about those, the experiences I had, like I was so lucky to have all those things. And now as a parent, when we are trying to give our kids everything, you know, even on the days when we feel like we're struggling or don't have enough money for it, like you look back and you think, how did my parents do this all these years? Mm-hmm. You know, it really is just like the holidays is such a celebration of each other and family. And whether you have one present, zero presents, one person there, or 20 people there, it's just such, I don't know, like it's such a big part of the year to me.
It is, and I can tell you, like, if we're, obviously, because we're not filming these right now, but you got like a little tear in your eye, and I can see like it comes from your heart and something that you feel deeply. It definitely touches.
I
the
do.
bone.
Like I just think like, gosh, like I know how we struggle sometimes, whether it's this year, 5 year, 5 years past, whatever. Like, and I think, I growing up, I don't ever remember struggling, and I don't think a lot of people could say that. And especially in these times, I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I feel really fucking lucky. I do.
It's true, like I came from a household that we struggled, and to be blunt and honest, I know my folks still struggle to this fucking day, and I wouldn't say less fortunate because we had an actual home and we had clothes on our back. It's like not that we were on the streets.
Needed.
Yeah, we had what was needed, and that's what was given. And for me personally, the holidays were different because that's where times where we just all got together and all the families contributed, bringing dishes and bringing stuff. And I remember they'll get into grab bags for Christmas, and I remember people stressing on Christmas because they want to be part of this grab bag. You want to do this cool stuff, but then you start stressing the financial side, and it even means like sometimes, like, to me, the holidays are a joyful time, but you do think about the financial side of things. You do think I'm very grateful that our kids are not snobby assholes where they come saying like
they're just assholes.
They're just assholes in
not
general,
snobby.
But not where they're coming up
Usually.
bougie assholes where they're coming up and they're like, well, you know what? Like, for example, I want the brand new PlayStation 5 or I want the brand new Xbox.
Yeah.
And you see parents try to struggle and try to figure out to get it from because that's what they're asking and that's what they feel. And our kids don't come off like that. And I've seen, a couple folks online that I read and they're like, oh my God, my kid wants this and I'm really trying to get it. And how can I make this work? And all these scalpers got this game going on. I'm not going to go down that hole of what I've read with these raffles and shit. But you start to think like, and I remember my mom always just literally trying to MacGyver the shit. Now, for those of you guys that don't know that reference, MacGyver was a TV show where he could take a paper clip and a fucking pencil and make a fucking missile.
If you don't know MacGyver, she's too young for you.
Yeah, if you don't know MacGyver, she's too young for you, bro. But my mom would try to MacGyver all this shit and just try her best way, like, to put shit together and to just try to make the best of it. And I could tell in her face, she would be sad, she would be depressed, she would start thinking about loved ones that passed on or loved ones that were less fortunate or loved ones that were no longer around. And and I don't take that burden on now as I'm an adult in our relationship, but sometimes I'll start to sit and think like the holidays could be joyful, but they could be also a little bit stressful. And then when you're reminiscing, like you're saying, where you're thinking about the situations you were in and the quote unquote like privileged stuff that you got there, it was just there, and you obviously didn't take it for granted.
Never.
But you're just saying like you realize. Like when we got together and as you saw how I operate or my family operates, and then you kind of see a different side of things. And I saw a different side of things on your end with your family. Yeah. So it's a learning experience. And I respect someone like you, not just because you're my wife and you're my best friend, but that you were able to acknowledge it. Because there's people that I know that are privileged and have always been privileged and they don't acknowledge it. They just feel like that's what it is and that's what they're owed.
No,
which I think is fucked up.
I completely acknowledge that I grew up so extremely lucky. And I see, like, when I look back, I see the growth in my family. Like, my parents came here when they were very young, I think, like, 21 or something like that. Mm-hmm. They had nothing, like, no money in their pocket, and they worked really hard, and they had multiple jobs. The typical, came to the United States kind of story.
Yeah, the typical. Now, that's one thing I'll say, because I actually had this conversation with a buddy of mine where we're talking about, they happen to ask me about your family's history, because the first notion is like, oh, they own their own business, they're millionaires. No, first off, they're not millionaires. Yes, they own their own business, but they struggle just to keep the fucking lights on. But to like, even like my mother-in-law, Tita, your mom, Tita the boss is what I call her.
T Money.
Even her story with her coming here and getting little send-off jobs, doing nursing, then going to get her degree in accounting, working for an accounting company, being the supervisor, then leaving that, still opening her own business, but doing that, and then rolling into her own business. Like, the hustle there is crazy. And I think with foreign families, that hustle is even double, and the same thing with your dad. Your dad, like, I remember we were talking not so long ago about when he used to do radios a radio show in the Philippines, like in the late 50s, 60s or whatever. He's got pictures with it, like in the suits and shit. I'm like, I didn't know you did radio. He's like, yeah, I did radio, but then he was involved with stuff because your grandfather was in the army. He was doing stuff of that, and then he came here and he had all these shitty odd-end construction jobs,
like
and
warehouse type of jobs. And
yeah,
stuff
and then
that.
he ended up at Sara Lee, and he's like working at Sara Lee and doing what he did there, and he was able to retire from there.
And those are the times I remember, because those are the times like when he worked for like Sara Lee, and he would always bring home like different cakes and stuff like that because they would give them for free. And I think I remember like that because like maybe those were the times that we didn't have as much, they were still growing as people, as adults, as parents. He worked for Brock's, the candy company, at some point.
Forgot about Brock's, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember those were the Valentine's Day. Like I would always get the little candy hearts, and I think that's why I like them so much.
Yeah. You're in your feels. Everyone ain't. She's in her feels. It's okay.
Am I being messy?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You're fine. We keep it real. I mean, let them hear that emotion, because this is coming from the heart. This is something that I think some people, even within their close circles, are scared to talk about. When I think back, again, I correlate struggle with my mom. My dad, he worked a very well paid job, but he fucking worked his ass off because he was working as a meat cutter. So it was like in a freezer all day, but he also was just a bona fide asshole. And he knows that. And I say it to him. I don't say it behind his back. He's just like a legit bona fide asshole. And his whole thing was like, well, I'm paying the bills. And as long as that gets paid, then he'd go to the bar, do his thing. And I just remember my mom just always just trying to fucking put the puzzle pieces together to make it work. She put up with so much of their shit, and God bless them. I mean, they're still married. That's for a whole nother episode, but
but when you put all those pieces together, like even those stupid candies, and like sometimes like Valentine's Day comes around and I buy those, and they're like chalky. You know what I'm talking about? It's like the hearts that say like you're cute on it or whatever.
I love you. You're awesome. Yeah.
They're like the shittiest candy. They taste like chalk and fruit kind of put together, but like I think now that in my brain I'm like talking about this, I think that's like why I like them. It's the memory behind things that I think pulls you to certain things, not the actual thing itself, the material thing. You know what I mean? Yeah,
and I think of when I think of holidays, like I remember, and it's always funny because as a Puerto Rican mother, my mother would, it's like she was trying to throw the dart to hit bullseye, but would just mark out the bullseye. Now, for example, like for those of you who don't know, she bought my first DJ set. Now, again, I wasn't expecting her to come with some brand new Techniques 1200s, which are like the creme de la creme of fucking turntables. She ended up giving me this like Newmark DJ in a box with the cheesy headphone, the cheesy guy on the side. And, and it was like belt driven, which that's DJ talk. That just means that when you're trying to scratch and stuff, it's belt driven. It's not motor driven. And I remember being like, opening and being like, oh, fuck, it doesn't got the motor. But this is the first time I'm sharing the story. Like, I didn't look at her in the face and was like, yeah, this is not motorized. This is not the one I need. I just said, fuck it. Like, you made it work for me so that I could get this and hopefully get into this DJ career, which I did. I'm just going to make it work, and I'm going to stake it out. And I staked it out for like a fucking year, almost 2 with that system. And then I was able to go ahead and upgrade and do what I had to do. But
do you think it's because like you grew up the way you grew up, like maybe with a slightly more of a struggle where you're like in your head, like you knew that even like as a kid, and you're like, I should be thankful for this. It might not have been exactly what I want, but I'm still super thankful for it. Whereas maybe other kids who maybe get everything they want or grew up differently or whatever would be like, this ain't what I wanted. This shit is wrong. You know what I mean? In their head, and maybe less grateful.
Even at that age, because again, they would fight and they would argue or whatever, and and I was obviously there, and you're from going on from a young age, and you're right. You learn to appreciate it. I'm not gonna be the fucking dick and be like, no, this is not what I wanted. Like that's. I'm not like, I'm like, fuck, this lady just, worked her fucking ass off with any little fucking penny she could get, working on the table, whatever she could do so that we could have it. Cause I never forget, like my dad, the big thing with him was like, we found this out years later. He used to get like a big Christmas bonus through his job and through his credit union he was with. And he wouldn't say shit. And then he would be,
say shit meaning keeping
yeah, he'd keep it. And then he'd be like, well, this is all I made. This is all I could give you to my mom. Like, this is what I could give you for gifts, which is like $200 for 2 boys. And at that time, like I said, there's an 8-year gap between my brother and I. Now you're talking about during this time, you got the PlayStations for the first time are coming out, and all these, and it's like, and listen, that's not $200. It's more than that.
Adds up.
It adds up fast. Shit escalates.
When you're like going out and I'm like, okay, I'll be back. I'm going to go buy like stocking stuffers. Before you know it, those fucking stocking
Yeah.
stuffers are like $50
Well,
in itself.
and not to fucking mention, she comes from a family of 9 kids, and then she's got nieces and nephews, and second nieces and second nephews, and brothers and sisters. So, and my mom just got such a big heart where she wants to feel bad, like I have to get them all something. It's like, no, you don't. But I remember him doing that. It wasn't until years later. Funny, quick, random story where he's a big paper collector, hoarder for his bills and all that stuff, and she ended up opening a paper in a drawer, and she's like, "What the fuck? He's been getting this money. Like, what the fuck is he doing with it?" And to this day, we don't know what he was doing
Who's
with
a hoarder?
that. My dad, with the papers. Like, he would take all these bills. Like,
Is that where you get your paper hoarding from?
No, I only keep the important stuff. Like, there's just
For like 9 years after you don't need
no,
them.
like, for example, like last year when we returned our Comcast equipment, I still got that receipt because it shows proof in case some shit happens. Like, it's like some tax law. What is it, like 6 years? And they can't
but you
get you.
keep it like you've literally kept it our entire relationship, which is like 12 years.
No, I got rid of that shit. Don't lies. That's fake news. But like, but he just keep. But it's like it's like for example, me keeping every paycheck stuff I get. Like, I know what I get paid. I get it. I check it. I get them digitally, and I shred them. But no, he'd keep them all. So yeah, we found out that way. And to me, as a man, like that was one of the times of many that I had lost respect for him because I was just like, man, you knew that, and she's struggling, and you're over here fucking around, like, whatever you're doing with extra money, and saying you only could give this, knowing that, and it wasn't like a couple $100. It was like $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 he was getting that Christmas bonus or whatever, and you find that on his heartbreaking, because like I said, you see a lady here trying to fucking put everything together and try to make it work and try to get everybody gifts, and because it's the holidays, and she just wants people to be happy, and I like when you say you reflect on that, like I reflect on that, like I just start thinking about the struggles. Then I think of my own stuff, like we're not fucking rich by no means, but we're not hurting neither. We're just getting by.
But when we look back on it, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, we were definitely struggling, like a lot compared to now.
Oh yeah.
And to even think of those times where we're just like trying to give Martin everything he wants for Christmas, trying to get presents for everyone else, like it was not easy. I look back at pictures when I like had Thanksgiving pictures. I think one came up in the memories the other day, and I'm like, man, that shit looks ghetto. What did I cook? What was that table? What were you wearing? Like,
nah, here's full circle.
But those were the times.
That meal might have looked ghetto, and what you put out looked ghetto for us three. That was before obviously little Eli was born, and we lived in the condo.
Yep.
But I still took a fucking picture of it and put it on Facebook, like with pride, because that was just me, like, fuck, I have a meal here. At the time, you were like, fucking pride.
Like this is our Thanksgiving or our Christmas, and it might have not been much or the same as other people, but like it's still such a good memory. I mean, we can laugh about it now a little bit, but regardless, it's still good.
Yeah, it is. To me, it is. And again, like I said, full circle shit is like, that's my appreciation. Like, even if you do something small, I appreciate it. And that's just the way I was born and raised from what I seen, and it's, you look at it, and I know people look at it with a different lens sometimes. And unfortunately you have those that are just out there to just feel like, no, that's fucking ghetto. No, I don't want that. No, it should be this. And to me, that's not what it should be. You should just, as well as we talk about Thanksgiving and giving, but to me, it's also being grateful. The whole fact of just
it's 100%
humble.
Being grateful.
And I think most people, you come up a path are,
and that feeling is like deep. When you say grateful, I feel like it's such a deep feeling that has like layers to it that you couldn't even explain in a 30-minute podcast or even within a day. Like all the stuff in your life that has happened, what has affected you that has made you this grateful, at our age.
It's not until we have conversations like this off the cuff, unplanned, that we hit those bones. And that's
funny because so we always think of topics, right? Like you or me, and we don't tell each other. Just so like when we
that's
talk
the whole thing. We don't
it,
tell each other. Everyone, we do not share each other.
That's kind of how we do it. It kind of just happened that way. But I was like, I have something I want to talk about, but I don't tell him so that we could just talk about it naturally. But anyways, so you thought of the topic, today, but it was literally the same thing I was thinking about.
There you go, and you be on this. We're so different, and we're so different. He likes hot, and I'm cold, and
we are different.
But look, we ended up having to meet at the same place, the same topic.
Like exact.
But the reason I came with that idea when we first started to do this podcast is just talk about a conversation off the rip, just to get each other's live reaction. Because what if I would have texted you this afternoon and said, "Hey, I got today's idea for the topic." You would have mauled on it then and probably teared up and got choked up earlier, and then now when you were talking about it, it would have already passed.
Maybe, but I was literally driving thinking, oh, we're going to, podcast tomorrow, whatever. And I was literally already tearing up, literally just thinking about my feelings and the things that I was going to talk about. But when I came home today from work, I said, hey, we're potting today, right? And you said, yes. I said, do you have a topic? Because I knew I had a topic. And you said, yeah. So I said, okay, forget it. So,
I did. And it's just, I mean, obviously with the giveaways because of what's coming up in 2 days. And,
yeah, but still.
You know, but still, it's something to talk about. And I think it's a conversation most people don't not have. And I don't think most couples might have with each other. You might have, you know, I want to ask you listeners that if you feel like the holidays can be stressful for you because you're like, oh my God, I got to get my significant other this, and this, but I got to pay for this, I got to pay for that. You know, these are conversations where you have to be on the same page with each other and know that, you know, no matter what physical gift there is, there's love that precedes over that, and it's appreciation
Definitely.
that precedes over that, and it's just being grateful. And I think most folks don't, and I think in some relationships when I talk to friends and family, and they'll tend to stress out in the holidays and I've been guilty of it where you're just like, oh my God. And
you tend to stress a lot more than me, but you know, I think you've let go a little bit of that over the years. And I do think, like, you know me, like, I love gifts. I love gift giving. I love receiving gifts, but that doesn't mean they're expensive. Like, you could literally be like, I went to the dollar store and I found like your favorite candy that's like never there or something like that, and it will make me just as happy as like $100 gift. Like, it's the thought, the thought behind it that really makes me unbelievably happy.
It is. And like I said, again, I challenge all of our listeners, if you feel that type of way, reach out to one of us and we'll chat with you, and I encourage you to reach out to your significant other, whoever you're with, and have those conversations about the holiday, because every couple is not always one and the same, and everybody's background's not one and the same, and it's
we're two in the fucking different.
Two in the fucking different, you know. But look, it's just great how life works, where it brings us together, and we come to a point where it's just a fucking balance, and it just balances itself out just perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty perfect.
You know, I'd have
usually.
Yeah, usually,
most
right?
Days. 6 out of 7 days.
You're like,
sometimes 2.
You're like 5 out of 10 days. I'm like, 5 out of 10. What the fuck is 7 days in a week? 5 days in 2 weeks?
5 out of 30 days.
Yeah, right? Fuck me. Well, everyone, from my family to your family, we want to wish you a very, very happy Thanksgiving. We hope you guys enjoy it with your family.
Eat, love, enjoy. All the good shit.
And for all my football lovers out there, enjoy those football games. We get back to back.
We're personally not watching football. I don't know if I let you know that yet, but there's no football watching.
So I don't know where you're going to be.
I've canceled
Today's
the channel.
one of those 30 days out of the 5 days. That's
5 out of 30
That's
days.
going to be one of those fucking days. But real talk, everybody, we really, really want to tell you guys, we appreciate you guys. Keep listening. Keep telling your friends. Keep sharing the podcast. For those of you who have rating abilities, please make sure you guys rate us and let us know what you think. I know we got a couple good ratings on Apple Podcasts so far, so make sure you hit those stars and leave those comments, and we appreciate it. And we appreciate you carving out some of your time and listening to us.
We will see you next week.
Peace out.